apartheid and for an immediate ceasefire.
It is fantastic and a great honor to be back here with you all, remembering the past and doing everything we can together to change the future.
Columbia students fully understand that the issues of Zionist atrocities in Gaza and the West Bank and McCarthyite repression at U.S. universities are entirely linked. The weaponization of university policy to silence students enables Israel's atrocities.
I come to you as an alumni from the distant past, veiled in mist. In 1968, we were facing quite an adversary in Columbia University. CU was busily engaged in weapons research for the Vietnam War, which was then at its brutal height. It was busily engaged in destroying West Harlem's only park to build a huge gymnasium taking up fully a third of that park. They tried to suspend several leaders for taking part in unsanctioned demonstrations. That was what started our strike too. Now I'm going to make an accusation. Columbia's current administration used its procedural rule to suppress the student groups because it was afraid that wealthy donors would withdraw their funding.
Faced with a slew of actions, of ways of divesting from its complicity in genocide and more than 75 years of settler colonial violence, instead turned its gaze towards the loudest voices for liberation in Palestine on this campus with one goal: to silence them.
Through my engagement with both administration and the Corps, I learned about government and institutions, about power and money and greed. I learned about concentric systems that attempt to silo those who wish to make change, either by convincing them that aligning with the system, hello NYPD, will break it, or that they can buy that complicity through cheap capital. I also learned that many of my peers were actually the future architects of horrors and that they were descended from the last.
I'm here representing the many Jewish alumni of Columbia and Barnard who have long stood with their Palestinian allies. I'm here to insist that there always have been anti-Zionist Jews who reject ethno-nationalism, and there always will be. We cannot and will not insist that our own safety and future as a Jewish people requires oppression and violence for the people of Palestine. How could I be silent about the atrocities being done to Palestinians in the name of my religion, when those atrocities so clearly fly in the face of everything I know and love about being Jewish?
You are in a lineage of student organizers who just won't quit. In the late 1960s and 70s, in the time of Roz and Tom, students rose up for Black liberation, for civil rights, and joined a massive anti-war movement against the war in Vietnam. In 1968, the university mobilized the NYPD against its own student body, who in turn arrested more than 700 students, brutalizing hundreds of our own students. You are in that lineage. In 1985, students protesting for full divestment from South African apartheid embarked on a 15-day hunger strike and chained themselves to the floors of Hamilton Hall, then the main administrative building. You are in that lineage. You know what they did in 1985 to the students who were protesting South African apartheid? They sought a court order to have them forcibly removed, threatened them with suspension and expulsion. And then they waited another 6 years to fully divest their funds from South African apartheid. After the US policy had fully shifted course, one of the last in the global order to do so. That is Columbia's legacy.